Now, I know the point I want to make and where I want to go with the conversation, but I'm not really 100% sure on how to get there, so I'm just going to kind of wing it. It may sound like I'm trying to talk shit about some creators, and I'm not. Do not take it that way. What I'm trying to do is say that the camp, everyone can do it, and the camp, no one can do it. Both of these statements are wrong. And looking at my comment section, especially this comment right here, it appears that people choose one of the two camps and make a decision off of it. So, what I'm trying to get at here is, in the comment, which is this one right here, he goes on to talk about Mark and Sam after work and how he shoots. I don't know if it was a 45-70 or not. I'll have to go back and look.
Let's see where we get.
He did shoot some military rifles with iron sights at a ridiculous range, and the whole thing was because a lot of people say you can't do that, and he proved that you can. That means that it all comes down to the shooter. It's some sort of natural-born skill, and it's a you problem, not a rifle problem, if you can't shoot that. And that's where the problem comes in. Because it all comes down to, like, the tool for the job. No doubt, Mark from Mark and Sam After Work is a very accomplished shooter. Like, he's a good shooter. Grand Thumb, very accomplished shooter. Can't think of any other ones off the top of my head, but there's a lot of them out there, and they're very accomplished. The difference is what they do regularly and all the time. For example, I could take you, as long as you have all 10 fingers, all 10 toes, 2 arms, 2 legs, functioning eyeballs, put you on that exact hilltop with enough ammunition for that particular rifle, and you will ultimately learn at that range, you know, I got to use this on my come up. The wind, what it looks like blowing across the valley looks like this, and I need to correct for this much, and you will ultimately start to hit. And you will get really good at that rifle. And if you practice it enough, you will even be better than Mark at that rifle. Same thing goes for, like, Grand Thumb. If you go on his range and you spend more time on it than he does, you will ultimately memorize it. You'll be like, all right, so step, then there'll be a target. I'm going to shoot. I'm going to transition back over because I know there's a target over there. Step, shoot. The point I'm trying to make is it's like a dance, and what you're getting to is familiarity. Now, it's not very realistic to shoot a 45-70 at that range or whatever rifle he used.
In front, low, 6 o'clock, quality target low.
My sighting system isn't a lot more accurate than that.
Yeah, okay.
Because I'm trying to get into the tools for the job. The tools for the job are very important. You may not be able to shoot a 45-70 at a stupid long range, but with the proper tools from the job, you might be able to shoot, say, I don't know, a 300 PRC. Much easier, especially if you have a reticle with, like, MOA. Again, I'm trying to, like, the tools are, in fact, important. Yes, like Charles Hathcock used his, what was it, a Winchester 30-06, with just a hunting reticle scope and would consistently make hits at 1,000 yards. And he would engage enemies at, like, what, 7? Something like that, even farther sometimes, if there was no reason not to. Yes, but he used that rifle all the time. If you put more time into that rifle than he did, you would be better at it than he is. It's not a natural-born skill. You, like right there, can do everything you see on YouTube if you keep doing it. Now, what they're doing, like, for example, with Mark and Sam After Work, because he knows the area, he knows what the wind looks like, he's pretty familiar with how the bullet drops, he is able to take that rifle and score hits. Because you're not on that hill as much as him, you don't watch the wind going through the valley, you can't get a good feel for it, you're not familiar with a lot of bullet drops too. You can get hits at that range. It's probably not going to be with a military rifle unless you sit down there for like 2 or 3 days with a ridiculous amount of ammo and learn the rifle. So, the tools themselves, they do play a part in it. For example, like you've got, I'm just making stuff up here, an ACOG with a BDC reticle in it, you know that, okay, so at 100 meters it'll hit here, 200 meters it'll hit here, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You don't have to learn that rifle over and over and over and over again. As long as you match your reticle to the rifle, it already does the work for you. And that's the kind of gear I like, especially with my channel where I'm constantly switching guns. It's nice to have like BDC reticles and that, so I don't have to memorize things. For example, I was shooting the Black 13 so much, I actually made hits at 300 yards standing on a 9-inch circle. What do you guys think? Do you think I made any 300-yard headshots offhand? Oh, let's see what we got here. Ha! You can suck my ass. Yeah, that probably bounced off the ground and went through because it's definitely in a tumble. But that is a clean hit. 300 yards, headshot. Oh, there's another one. I didn't even notice that one. Boom. Now, I don't know how many I fired. I'm guessing somewhere around 10, and I got 3 headshots. That's awesome. That's really awesome. But then I ran into the whole ammunition thing. I put the rifle down for a while. I wound up figuring out what the problem with the ammunition was. I picked up the rifle, and I'm like, shit! Is that rear drum calibrated in quarter MOA or half MOA? And I couldn't figure it out for the life of me. And I actually had to go through all my emails, dig up the receipt where I purchased it from, and look and be like, oh, half MOA. Yeah, I could have went to the range and figured it out, but it was so much simpler just to look at the receipt and be like, oh, half MOA. So then I drew on it, half MOA. Now, if I shot that rifle constantly, all the time, I would have every little thing about it memorized, and problems like that wouldn't happen. But because I don't shoot that rifle constantly and like all the time, and I have a whole pile of rifles I have to shoot, I had to just write it right on the receiver so I don't forget. Again, it comes down to how much you do that particular job. Yes, you totally can take your little M4 carbine and score hits at 500 yards. You can do that. But it's going to take time, and you're going to have to do it every day. Well, not every day, but consistently over and over and over and over and over and over again. And you'll probably be able to shoot that rifle better at 500 yards than I could shoot like my shredder with a 35x scope at 500 yards just because you do it more. But the whole point of gear is to fill in that gap. Yeah, Charles Hathcock could most definitely jump on that hill that Mark and Sam shoot at and shoot 1,000 yards with his particular sniper rifle, you know, back in his heyday, because he did it all the time. He knew the rifle in and out. He was really good at reading environmentals. Could you do that? Depending on who you are, probably not. But you could go on that hill with, like, say, I don't know, a 300 PRC, a Kestrel to read the environmentals, a laser rangefinder to guesstimate how far away, well, actually lays the target and know how far away it is. Pull out your ballistic chart. Be like, okay, at this range, it's going to drop this far. The Kestrel says the wind is moving this much up here. It kind of looks a little thicker down there, so we're going to throw on this much of a wind call. Let's give it a shot. Boom. That hit or did not hit. Let's correct from there with the grid system on my scope and make a hit. It will make you a far more effective shooter. I mean, yes, you put thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of hours into Charles Hathcock's rifle. You don't need that stuff because it's just ingrained in you. But if you don't use it, you'll lose it. And the whole point is, with like the gear in that, is to make it so if you take a break from the rifle, or you're just not familiar with the rifle, you can pick it up and have a pretty damn good idea of what's going to happen. I could get really good at the 300 PRC, shooting at 1,000 yards at that particular target, and memorize the area and know what the environmentals look like, but then if I don't use it, I'll lose it, and I won't have that skill anymore. However, if I buy, say, I don't know, a reticle with MOA in it, and it's first focal plane, so it always adjusts, and I print out a dope card like, hey, last time I shot this, this is what I did. So then I pick it up after a year, and I read my dope card. Okay, so last time I shot it, I had to come up 24 MOA. Or 23.8, I forget what the actual one is. 23, again, case in point. I believe it's 23.8, basically 24 MOA. So like last time I shot it, I came up 24 MOA. over there, that particular bush, when it started to move, I know that it took a 10-mile-an-hour wind to move that. So roughly there's a 10-mile-an-hour wind, and I shoot. Or I take my Kestrel, and I'm like, how far away was that target? Lays it. Oh, yeah, it was 1,000 yards. Crap, what was my come up again? Go to my little dope card. All right, so 1,000 yards, 24 MOA, dial that in. Now just to figure out the wind. Oh, I shot, I missed, but I hit right here on the grid system in my scope, so I move the point over, and I fire again. That's what the gear is doing. It's a crutch. Yeah, with enough time and enough practice, you don't need the crutches. You really don't. And you can do anything you see any YouTuber doing. The only thing that's stopping you is what's up here. You convincing yourself that you can't do it. As long as you let that pile of shit thought go and throw that away, because you can do anything you want. Your parents were only semi-full of shit when you were like, I want to be an astronaut when I grow up, and they told you you could. Yeah, with your skills in that you can, but I mean, some money comes into play here, so if they don't have the money, it's not going to happen. But like I said, they were only semi-full of shit by saying you could be an astronaut or a president. So take out that little thought right here. Here it is. This is the thought of, I can't do this, or it requires some sort of natural-born skill, or some sort of skill I can't acquire. Take that, set that bitch on fire, put it in the toilet, piss on it, and flush the toilet. And you will instantly become a better shooter. You can do anything. Anything you want. Again, the tools like BDC reticles, MOA reticles, laser rangefinders, shit like that will help crutch you so you don't have to memorize every single thing. Because if you memorize every single thing and you're relying on your memory, our memories are shit. You put that rifle down for like a year, now you forgot a bunch of stuff. Now you're rusty, you got to figure everything back out. No, print out a dope card, get yourself a laser rangefinder, get the tools you need. For an AR-15, throw on like an ACOG with a BDC reticle or something like that, and you'll always remember because it's right there on the reticle. It's right in front of your face. Okay, so at this yardage, I need to come up this. Simple. And that's what I'm trying to say, like, there's the two camps, everyone can do it, or no one can do it, and the truth actually lies somewhere in the center. Everyone can do it, however, if you don't do it very regularly, without the gear helping you, you're probably not going to be able to do it right away. It'll take you a while. No one can do it is also kind of true, because yes, it takes repetitivity, repetitive, and then you start to memorize it. However, again, you can pick up some of the slack just with buying the proper gear for the job. That's why they have like BDC drums on your AR-15, BDC reticles in your ACOG, all your ACSS reticles, even with like MOA. Like, so if I switched over to mils, which I'm not going to do, I would have to switch everything over. When I'd be talking about a firearms accuracy, I would tell you, it's about a third of a mil accurate. The problem is most of you wouldn't know what the hell that is, well, pulling out a calculator and going on Google and checking. So that's why I keep everything in MOA. Because I measure the rifle's accuracy in MOA, all my scopes are in MOA, the rear drums on my AR-15s are in MOA, everything is in MOA. This way I don't start getting shit confused. Because if I'm like, oh, I gotta dial up one MOA, and this particular reticle or scope or whatever is in mils, and I dial up 1 mil, that's a massive, massive difference. So by keeping everything in MOA, it keeps the repetitivity. Everyone asks, why don't I switch to mils? Because I can't. If I switch to mils, I have to switch everything to mils. How I talk, how I measure things, everything would switch. And because this is America, and rifles accuracy are measured in MOA, ranges are typically at 100 yards, it makes more sense for me to do MOA. Targets, MOA dots, like everything is in MOA. And because I keep everything in MOA, I don't have to try to remember how to use one particular rifle. Because they're all that way. So as long as I'm shooting a rifle, I will remember. If that makes any sense. I really hope I got to the point I was trying to get. Again, I am not talking shit about those creators. Those creators are very accomplished shooters. What I am talking shit about is the people that think that they can't do it because you can. You can do it. And the people that say everyone can do it because you can't. You can't do it, not without doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again until it gets ingrained. Unless this is where the truth comes out. You buy the right tools for the job, you have a laser rangefinder, some sort of way to estimate range, some sort of calibration system inside of your scope to where you can be like, okay, 24 MOA, come down 24 dots. You're not just randomly going down a crosshair like Charles Halfcock did and being like, oh, well, I know it's roughly 3/4 of the distance down the crosshair to shoot at 1,000. No, you don't have to, because it's literally got hashes on there. Count down 24 of them. Done. Instead of being like, that's about 3/4, that's about right. Come over a little bit for a 10-mile-an-hour wind, boom, and make a shot. Yeah, you could get there. You could. But how much work would be involved to get there? I'm just a normal hunting crosshair, and are you picking up what I'm putting down? Because I really want you to understand this. Like, don't ever fall into either of these two camps that everyone can do it or no one can do it. The everyone can do it camp thinks you don't need any gear. Just as long as you're a good shooter, you can just pick up a rifle and make these shots or run through this tactical course just fine. No, it takes a lot of time. A lot of time and a lot of repetition. And then the no one can do it. Never, ever, ever tell yourself you can't.
Are you a Mexican or a Mexicant?
I'm a Mexican.
The point is, you can do it. You can. Anyway, thanks for watching. I kind of hope I came to what I was trying to deliver to you, because I wasn't really sure how to get to the message. I feel like I did. I don't know. Anyway, thank you for watching. Like to help support the channel, got my Patreon right there. I also have affiliate links in the description down below. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.